Hello Power Rangers Lightning Collection fans, and welcome back to Toku Topics. Today I'm taking a look at the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Zord Ascension Project Mighty Morphin Dragonzord. So I'm pretty excited for this one. So this is the third entry in the Zord Ascension Project line, following the Dino Megazord in the Dino Megazord NFT Black and Gold version. So yeah, it's out a little earlier than it was supposed to be. I think this had like a January release date at some point. But then again, it's been out for like over a month in certain countries and everything. And Hasbro Pulse just got one in, finally got them in last week. So I went ahead and ordered one. So I'm pretty excited about this one because I have never owned a Dragonzord before. I've never owned the Legacy one, the original one, any of that kind of stuff. So this is going to be my first Dragonzord for my collection, which is why I finally went ahead and bought the regular Dino Megazord so I could, combine them into Battle Mode, Warrior Mode, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so the box here is very, very pretty. Let me zoom out again, like I've had to do on the other Zord Ascension Project videos, just because it's pretty big. Now, there's just one thing about it, or I guess technically there's two things about it that kind of bug me, but it's really nitpicking here. It's still an absolutely gorgeous box, but in terms of just kind of, I guess not really consistency, because like, basically this entire line, the Zord Ascension Project line, isn't really following like a specific price point. Like Zord, the Astro Megazord and the Dino Megazord are the same price, and this one is cheaper. This one's like $132 compared to $165.99 for those. But the thing is about it is that I think it would have been really, really nice if the boxes could kind of line up. And what I mean by that is that the Megazord box is obviously significantly like fatter than the Dragonzord box, but it's also, and this is not showing up on camera like whatsoever, but the Megazord box is significantly, or not really significantly, but it's a little bit taller. And I don't mind these boxes being like thinner, based off of the Zords, both this way and this way. But I think it would have been nice just on the shelf if they came up to the same height. Maybe if this one was a little shorter, I definitely think that it probably could have been potentially. Or if this one could be a little taller. It's like I said, it's a very minor nitpick. It's still really pretty, and it still fits into that whole Zord Ascension Project kind of look with like the artwork on the side and the slipcase cover and all that kind of stuff. But just one little thing that kind of bothered me. And then another thing that doesn't really bother me is just kind of an interesting design choice that I thought that they went with here, is that the like face here is of the combination with the Megazord, which technically you can't really do without a Megazord. I mean, you can make this face, but I think it would have been kind of cooler if this was just Dragonzord's face and not a combination face, because it's advertising the Dragonzord. Of course, you can do the combinations, but like I said, just minor little things there. It really doesn't matter that much, but still, very, very nice box. It's fitting in the same kind of theme as the rest of them. This one is Zord, not Megazord, so I like that. That's a good attention to detail. This is Zord-0121, because it first appeared in the first season and then the 21st episode of Power Rangers. So you already saw the beautiful artwork on the side there of Dragonzord with the Power Rangers Lightning Collection logo. And on the other side, you just get kind of a render of the actual figure. This is where on the Dino Megazord they had the individual Dinozords, but you don't need to do that here. And then on the back, you have this really nice picture of the Dragonzord with the, man, this looks really, really cool. And then you get the tiny little Green Ranger figures that it comes with. It shows you the Green Ranger in Dragonzord's little cockpit there. The missile firing finger accessories that you get. And it shows the combination with the Megazord, so it shows right there a Z-0121 with Megazord 0101. And you can create both of the combinations there. So very, very nice. And at the top, you get that Zord 0121 look there. And then on the bottom, you get the plastic-free packaging thing and the barcode. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the tape on this. I will cut to a different angle, and I will unbox the Dragonzord for the first time. Okay, so I went ahead and cut the slipcase little tape on there, so we'll see how easy this one is to take off. I do like the slipcase look, but it's just, I am very terrified of damaging these, and they are a little tricky to keep from fraying and all that kind of stuff. So I'll actually go ahead and set that onto the ground off to the side. So very, very pretty there. I do like the helmet there. I just, like I said earlier, kind of wish it was just Dragonzord's face. And then looking at the back, you get that same kind of Z thing there as on the other ones, but this one's all green. And then we do have to cut a little bit more before I can actually take the slipcase off. I don't think, or not slipcase, the top tray, I guess, or lid, I guess would be the better description. So we'll see how easy this one is to take off. The regular Megazord is not too difficult. The black and gold one It takes forever for me to get the case off. Alright. And then there is kind of the full artwork of the one that's on the side here, with him fighting the Megazord, which just looks really, really awesome. I do love the packaging on this quite a bit, on all the Zaps. And then actually right there is the barcode. I wasn't sure where it was because it wasn't on the outside of here. Like right here is where it was on the Megazord, but that is the barcode to the Zord Ascension Project website, which has not yet been updated to include Dragonzord. I hope that it is. Same thing with Astro Megazord, it's not there either. But hopefully, sooner rather than later, they will add that. So we are about to get to the part that I'm scared about. So I've been seeing some people get Dragonzords without all of the pieces, I guess, or not really even that. Some of them are just not including all of the different ports they're supposed to have, like a leg joint or something like that, which is extremely, extremely odd. So I'm very hoping that mine is okay. I really lucked out with my Megazord in my opinion, so I would not be surprised if my Dragonzord's a little messed up. But hopefully it's not. So we have this really nice cockpit console thing there. Just like we had on the other Zords, it matches very, very well with Dragonzord, the Green Ranger, the Dragonzord coin. And then we lift that up, and we'll put that off to the side. And here's everything we got working here. So, of course, Dragonzord himself is kind of chilling right there. I believe this is probably, this is his tail, I think. Ooh. I haven't seen as many videos for Dragonzord as I have for the regular Megazord. Ooh, that's a good size. And that's pretty nicely articulated too, wow. Oh, I'm so excited. I've never owned a Dragonzord before. This is really cool. This is the bottom one? Yeah, okay. It's very nicely articulated when you extend all the joints out. I like that quite a bit. And then of course it can collapse all the way in for the staff mode. So yeah, that's great. It's very nicely painted and everything too. Good job on that one. So there is the tail. And we'll go ahead and put the little baggies back in there. This one should be the tiny Green Rangers and the missile firing fingers, and I think, is that it? What else is he supposed to come with? Oh, right. Okay. So this is the missile firing fingers, which are actually just like effect pieces you just kind of clip in. Which, ooh, interesting. It's this one's kind of like, not bent, but like one of them kind of tilts to the side. So that's pretty cool. So we have those. And then we have, oh, these are for the Megazord. Ooh, he's holding the little Green Ranger. There we go. These are, I assume, special hands for Dino Megazord to actually hold the staff. That makes a lot of sense because the Dino Megazord only included hands to hold the saber and also some splayed open hands. So interesting to have some new hands for Dino Megazord with him. Makes sense though. These are the little plates that you can use in the Mega Dragonzord combination, just to kind of make it look a little cleaner, which I think is a nice little detail. And then you have some hands with the rockets about to launch, which is really cool. And then you have some hands that I believe these are the ones, or maybe not. These are some just kind of sort of splayed hands or whatever. I guess these are probably the ones you probably use when you're making the Megazord combination and then cover it up with the little plates. So I assume he might have hands on him already. And then you do get two tiny, which I don't know if they're going to focus at all, Green Rangers. So you have one kind of in a battle pose, and you have one playing the Dragon Dagger, which is really, really cool. So I like that they included two. I think that's really fun. And that would go nicely with the other Rangers from the Megazord. And then in here, not in its baggie or not in a baggie or anything like that, this is just the staff piece for when you have the Dragonzord in warrior mode. So there's that. Stands nicely on its own. You get the instruction manual, if I can take it out of there. We'll put the baggie back in there. So here is the instruction booklet, which I will be referring to for this because I have not ever combined a Dragonzord. There's a little Hasbro safety pamphlet thing. So let's see, how complicated does this seem to be? Let me zoom out so you can kind of get the whole thing in the frame. And it doesn't look too complicated. Just kind of showing you all the hands and pieces and such, how to swap hands, how to combine it. Yeah, alright, so we will be referring to that, so I'll leave that out. And that means the only thing left in here is, well, Dragonzord himself. So, saving the big thing for last. Ooh. Oh, man. Oh, that's pretty nice. Those leg joints are not as scary. Oh, he has knee articulation. His little mouth has the little flap in there, which actually I remember MMPR Toys' video where the mouth is supposed to be up higher so you can actually see the other set of teeth, so sometimes it gets stuck. So I'll have to kind of fix that up. But yeah, that looks really good. It looks like this is the same kind of connector that's on the Triceratops and Sabertooth. It looks like the same one, at least to me, to connect his tail. But you know, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like the chrome in person because it's not necessarily show accurate, but I don't know, it's kind of working for me. Kind of get his hands out there a little bit more. Now this is fun. All right, so let me kind of clean everything up here, and then we'll take a closer look at Dragonzord. Okay, so here is Dragonzord out of the box here, and so far everything looks pretty good on mine. I don't really think I'm missing any pieces. Nothing seems to not be here. We'll kind of see how this goes once I actually start, you know, combining it and stuff like that. But overall, I'm really impressed. I really am. I think they didn't take as many creative liberties with the Dragonzord as they did with Megazord. The chrome is an interesting thing, because for me, it does look really, really nice, but like technically Dragonzord isn't chromed out like that in the show. I know the original Bandai 90s toy and also the original Bandai, well, I guess both of them in Bandai America and Bandai Japan's original toys had that kind of chrome look to it. But honestly, when they showed the original prototype of this guy back in the infamous April 12th Fan First Tuesday, I kind of liked it without the chrome before, to be quite honest with you. But the finished product here isn't terrible. I definitely am going to be interested to see how this looks when it's in its Megazord combination mode, when this becomes the chest. But just kind of looking at it here, I think I'm going to be fine with it. But that's, like I said, that's just me very minorly nitpicking on this thing because it is very, very pretty. Just kind of looking all around it. I love the paint detailing here. I think they did a great job getting all the green and all the gold. So you do have some chrome there, and pretty much everywhere where there's like a Dragonzord symbol, there's chrome. And then there is, oh, you can kind of see me there. Hi, there I am in the chrome right there on the chest. You can definitely see me right there. So that's kind of fun. Now these definitely look like they want to light up. They can't. The original 90s toys could, but there is no electronics in this guy. He has a little bit of some paint chip right there on the mouth, or on the head in general, which I am not a fan of. And I have yet to actually grab that mask and push it up like it's supposed to be. See, how difficult is that going to be? I feel like I'm going to have to take like a paper clip or something. Maybe can I take like the little missiles and kind of try to... oh, almost had it. Yeah, there we go. So I was able to move the mask back up so you can actually have his upper jaw. So that's how he's supposed to look. There we go. So you do have the little opening and closing mouth, but you see like that face just gets caught like every time. So you're always going to like make it not have his top jaw. So just be a little careful with that. It's not, you know, a problem necessarily, but I also do think that this isn't too bad, this chrome up here. I'm trying to think, I think with the creative liberties that they've taken, I think is some of this kind of textured pattern I don't think is necessarily accurate, but it doesn't, I think like it blends in a lot better than like it does on the Megazord. So I also think these blend in pretty nicely, these ports that are definitely the ports for when he's in warrior mode. I think those are actually hidden pretty good. Obviously this one is the one for his tail, which I'll actually just go ahead and connect in right now. Which did I get it? I feel like I did. But I also feel like it's supposed to probably, there we go. I feel like it's supposed to probably like cover that up, but it's not, unless I'm just doing it wrong. But there is his tail. So kind of angle him a little forward there, but did I get that correct? I don't even know. Let me look at the back of the box here and see if I have just kind of failed. Or where's the slipcase? There it is. No, I mean, that looks pretty right. So, but yeah, you can, you know, angle it up so it doesn't get in his way. I think the tail is very, very nice. It's a really good size. And you, like I said earlier, like I kind of showed off earlier, you can kind of just move it all over the place. Very nicely articulated. Now, one thing that does kind of just worry me for the longevity of this, and if you're just kind of displaying it on the shelf, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but a really, really nice paint down here on what becomes the little like knee pads. But since it's his bottom of his feet, I am worried about paint chipping when he is kind of moving around. Granted, you're probably not going to really have him do too much moving around, but since that is just a painted area that is always going to be in contact with the ground in this mode, it does worry me just a little bit. But you know, I'm sure if you're just careful with it, it will be perfectly fine. But you do have some nice articulation in his arms there, and also in the hands, which are on a nice ball joint. So you can have them kind of rotate out, and then you can attach, I think you attach it this way, or no, definitely this way. So on this one, you just try to line up, or it's a little more tricky than I thought. Which way is it supposed to go? Is it supposed to go, oh, is it supposed to go this way? Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. So there's that one, and then you have this one for his right hand, which is just a little scary to kind of line up those ports, but that is pretty sweet. I do like that effect right there. You know, kind of it makes it feel kind of part of the Lightning collection, you know, even more to give it an effect piece, because that's obviously something that the figures have. So, and these Zords are kind of supposed to sort of be treated as figures, or kind of like an evolution, or kind of a mixture between, like, you know, transformable Zords and figures, kind of. So to have this kind of effect piece, I think is really, really neat. If he had a, like, silo to chew on, that would be even cooler, but that's, like, never come with Dragonzord stuff, like, ever, surprisingly. So that is definitely cool enough. I do like that. Pretty easy to peg and unpeg. We'll go ahead and see how easy it is to swap some hands. So you do have, oop. Now it's going to be stuck in there. Ah, dang it. Okay, so that's just one thing to be watching out for, is that when you're trying to swap the hands, it's a little tricky because, like, everything kind of wants to move, and then that ball joint wants to get collapsed in there, and then that kind of thing will happen where it's just kind of stuck inside now. And I'm afraid of all this kind of movement right around the chrome areas, because I don't want to chip any of the chrome areas. But you definitely can swap his hands. At least you're definitely supposed to be able to. There we go. So, like, there's one, which I think I just connected the same hand that was already in there. Honestly, that's fine. I'm not going to fiddle with it more. But you can obviously swap the hands for the ones that I showed earlier, where you kind of have the missiles already firing, or these ones that don't have any kind of missile ports and are kind of just some generic splayed open ones. These are, I believe, perfectly enough, I think, to collapse in for combination. Yeah, okay, so they are. So they are definitely, because you can definitely fully collapse them in for the shoulder combination, and then you just take these, I guess I think it would be this one, you just take these little plates and cover them up, which I think is a nice little detail. But yeah, these ones, the default ones, are perfectly acceptable to be the ones that are stored inside for any particular combination. It's just a little finicky to kind of mess with them. And then you do sort of have, it's not really a shoulder movement, but it's really just because of transformation's sake, really, that you have this kind of movement there. But yeah, not too bad. And then I do want to show off the little cockpit. So there he is. I kind of blocked me showing it, but there it is. The tiny little Green Ranger, which I feel is a little off-centered on mine. It looks like he's a little tilted in there. Like it just didn't get placed in there perfectly or something. Oh, and there goes the mouth covering the jaw again. But you see what I mean? It's a little lopsided in mine. But I do like that detail carried over from the Dino Megazord, and it's still present on the Astro as well. So that's a fun little thing. I think it's also hidden very, very nicely under the little chrome. So that is pretty cool. And then, as I showed off earlier, you do have these very, very tiny little Green Rangers, which can stand by his feet. Or I guess you'd really only have one of them stand by his feet. And there they are compared to the toes, which that's one thing too. Hasbro decided to paint his toes. I don't know why. He's never really had his toes painted. It's not as egregious in person as it kind of looked in some of the promo shots. But yeah, they painted his toes, and I don't really get it. So you have that. So it's what, 6 hands total? So 3 sets of hands on the little plates, and the missiles, and the 2 little Green Rangers. So yeah, you get a lot. I think you pretty much get, like I said, the only thing I could think of that he would like and this is not necessarily should have, but it would be kind of cool if he did, was the silo. But yeah, so I think pretty much the only thing left to show off for him is to obviously combine him with the Megazords, or with the Megazord, but I was also going to show it off with the NFT one as well. So we'll kind of try to move some things out of the way here. But before I combine everything though, I do want to just show off Dragonzord standing next to the Megazord, which actually I'm going to go and take the tail off for that, just so that way he's not leaning against the wall, and we kind of have it be a little bit more fair. So let me bring in the Zord Ascension Project Dino Megazord. Now everything here is supposed to be at 1/144 scaled, so to make that possible, Dragonzord is significantly smaller than Megazord. Now, that's not necessarily accurate. I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing to where, like, I don't really know how you could have made this the scale it's technically supposed to be and still be combinable in kind of a realistic format. I don't think that this is a terrible scaling problem here between Dragonzord and Megazord, because I feel like I mean, maybe you would display them like this. I know a lot of people would probably display Dragonzord on his own, not necessarily combined with Megazord, but if you're going to have them displayed combined, especially if we ever get a Zord Ascension Project Titanus and you display it as an Ultra Zord, hopefully that's something we can do someday, you're probably not really going to be worried about this too much. Now, I think that it might be a little bit better if you just have T-Rex with Dragonzord, but even then I think T-Rex might be that might make T-Rex a little short. I'm not sure. He might just have really tall legs too. It's kind of this, like, random things here to where, like, I don't really know exactly what the fault is here. I just know these guys are not as perfectly scaled as they necessarily should be, but are still, I guess, theoretically somehow in scale to what Hasbro is trying to do with the 1/144 thing. So, because that's what Dragonzord is also scaled at, so I don't know, it's a little strange. But now, for the first time ever for me, I'm going to combine a Dragonzord with a Megazord. I've never been able to do this. I've never had a Dragonzord, period. So this is pretty exciting. It really makes me want a Titanus, because I've never owned a Titanus either. I've never owned an Ultra Zord. Now we have two-thirds of it here. So I'm pretty sure I know the gist of how to do this, and I will zoom in just to kind of show some of it off. But obviously it's just kind of showing kind of how to combine everything. So the ultimate thing I'm going to wrap up here with is the Mega Dragonzord, Mega Dragonzord, where it is sitting on his shoulders. So we'll go ahead and start with the one that is my favorite combination personally, the Battle Mode, where he just uses the the 3 Zords and does not use the T-Rex or the Pterodactyl, which should be, I would say, easy enough to do. So I'm going to have the instructions down here just in case I need to refer to them. And we'll go ahead and start prepping this guy. So we're not going to need the power sword. Actually, we're not going to need his hands in general. So I can actually just leave the power sword and the mastodon head in these respective hands, because we are going to swap the hands. So I'll grab those hands and move them out of the way. And I'll actually go ahead and start with that, see how difficult it is. And everything's already out of the frame, because that's just how this is going to have to go. This review station is not set up for Zord combinations. So there is that hand from Dragonzord now on Megazord, and that one. So not too difficult to do. But you can also just use those as just alternate hands for Megazord without having to even use the Dragonzord pieces. But let's see here. Do I have to take Pterodactyl off? I guess I do. I didn't realize the Pterodactyl was connected into Mastodon. Oh, I still have that tail back here. This thing is always a pain. I really like the idea behind this tail being back here for articulation's sake, but honestly, it is such a pain to take this tail off. This is a peg that will break someday. Oh my gosh, I hate that. I hate that sound so much. Like, that peg is totally going to snap someday. It's just in there so tight, and it knocked the cannons off too. Alright, so I'm not going to be doing this too often. So we'll grab Pterodactyl and the T-Rex tail and move them out of the way. And then we're going to need Triceratops and Sabertooth. And we'll move the rest of T-Rex out of the way. Alright, so now we've got some pieces kind of sitting here. So next up, we already have the tail off of Dragonzord, so we'll just accordion it back together to do. I feel like that's enough, right? It's kind of like it doesn't fully want to click in. I guess it's just kind of rested as best as you possibly can. And then, oh, I guess it has to clip into a piece on Dragonzord. So it's actually like the same height as him, essentially. Looking at the instructions here, The next step is to fold in the hands and kind of just open him up. Basically take the chest out and, or not really take the chest, well yeah, take the chest out and kind of just fold him up. Is basically kind of what we have to do here. So we'll go ahead and take these little hands and kind of fold them up inside. I feel like these are going to get caught in there though. I can see why they included those little dummy door pieces now, because I don't know, it definitely does seem a little finicky. How easy is it to take the chest piece out? Is the question I would like to know. Where do I even start to take the chest piece out? Hold on. Okay, so I definitely found the next ports that are going to break someday, and that is this port right here that's holding, we have to like reconnect it anyway, so that the ports that are holding the chest in for Dragonzord feel very, very brittle, and this one was really hanging on. Like when I actually took it off, there's a little bit of like white powder on it, which, yeah, I'm just worried about that in pretty much every conceivable way. So I do believe we just kind of clip those back together. Oh no, I definitely screwed that up. Never mind. How are you supposed to do this? Oh wait, no, I got it right. Yeah, so you just kind of fold these over, and then there is a clip right there. I think, is that the only clip right there, I believe? To kind of just, oh, almost had it. Everything feels like it doesn't want to connect together, which just kind of has me overall a little worried. But like that, is that seriously the only little connector port that's there? I have to be doing something wrong here, right? Let's focus back on here. I think these doors open up. Yeah, okay, because I know that that's kind of right. Or it's on the way to being correct with that, and then you would fold these little pegs out. So move this door up, fold that in all the way, so you have something like that, and then fold the peg out. I will say, like, even though he is hollow, just like Megazord is, he doesn't feel as bad in terms of as hollow, I suppose. Like, what is going on with this chest? Alright, I got it. So it was just kind of a matter of finagling some of those pieces together. But I think we pretty much got the gist of it from Dragonzord here. I'm pretty sure. I folded those up correctly. Let me kind of just look at the instructions here again, and yep, it looks like I got that. I'd say so, at least. I mean, I guess it's maybe not supposed to be as folded up. I think it's supposed to be a little bit more kind of like that. I don't really think it particularly matters how much of the little doors are there. But now we'll go and take the Triceratops and see how difficult this is to clip it in. See, also, I feel like there's a huge gap there. Is there supposed to be that much of a gap in front of it? I feel like it's supposed to be a lot more flush with that in the actual combination, or like in the show combination, I suppose. And then we'll grab Sabertooth, clip it in. I will say those didn't clip in too terribly. Kind of a sort of move everything around there. I mean, it looks correct. It just looks like there's such a big like gap between this and that. But I really don't know how else, like how, you know, correct more that could possibly be. So definitely interesting. All right, so now we'll go ahead and pan up so we can actually see what's going on up here. Which maybe I should just move the camera up for this. You know, one thing I really pride myself for here on Toku Topics is just really giving you my raw reaction and, you know, trying to figure stuff out. Am I the best toy reviewer? Absolutely not. I'm quite terrible at it, honestly. So, alright. Oh, that was one thing that I know is interesting. Does mine have it, though? Okay, good. We're good. So, some people did not have the clips to actually connect Mastodon in, so you couldn't do anything. But mine do have Mastodon clips, which went in there pretty easily, I'd say. So that's good. That's good. What is left with you? So, we got pretty much the gist of it. This is, I love how this is looking already. We'll go ahead and grab this thing and connect it right in there. And then, do you have a little handle? Ooh, look at that. And then we take the tail. And how do you, what? I see where I've gone wrong. So it actually wants you to separate the tail and leave some of it connected into his butt. So let me connect some of it back into your butt. And kind of dangle that there. I don't think that this has ever been how you've done this before. And then you take just the top 3 sections. And, well, it's supposed to. Clip. Oh my gosh, there we go. Alright, and then kind of line that up. And then you're gonna slot into there, which, ooh, that's I feel like it's a very loose grip. Maybe it's not supposed to use that hand, because like I feel like the other hands would honestly be perfectly fine for it, so that's definitely interesting. But oh, we're getting somewhere here. So I mean, yeah, it totally fits into the regular hand that's on the regular Zord Ascension Project Megazord default, so I don't really know what this hand's supposed to be for then. I mean, I guess it's technically to just have some more articulation options, but let me try to take the hand off of there, and we'll reattach this hand. That way we can actually get him to hold his spear, because I really like how the spear looks, and I'd like for him to be able to hold it. Alright, alright, alright. We're getting somewhere. We'll kind of bend the elbow there, use the stand, because his knees are trying to buckle. Okay, hold on. We're getting somewhere. Let me readjust this a little bit, and then I think we just drop that down, and I believe we have our Dragonzord in warrior mode. So I'm pretty sure I've got it. Let me kind of look at some stuff here and make sure that the tail is all where it's supposed to be and everything, which yeah, I think. Well, it says to take the whole tail off. So are 2 pieces just supposed to be gone? Or like, I don't get what is happening here, because like right here it's like take the whole tail off and fold the peg up, blah 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 blah. You know, and just keep going from there, which is everything that we did. And it says you can swap the hands. Oh, I guess it says to adjust this little crest thing, which this way, is that how it's supposed to go? Is it supposed to go all the way up for that mode, or no? I think it's supposed to go that way, all the way back. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna call it. That's good enough. So there is Dragonzord in warrior mode, which I'll kind of just pan down so you can kind of get a good look at there as his legs want to continuously just keep splaying out. It looks good. I definitely think it looks good. Combine it better than I did, but that's all I can say. Be better than me. But once you got it, I quite enjoy it. You don't have as much articulation here. I guarantee you he doesn't have a waist articulation for it. And that would be, yeah, I'm pretty confident that that is not going to move, and I'm not going to force it to. The staff, like, unless you angle the mastodon like just right, it's always going to kind of want to make the Megazord kind of splay open there. Which, it's not the greatest. It's fine. But, yeah, I mean, that is Dragonzord in battle mode, warrior mode, whatever. Kind of looking at the face there, they did make a little translucent kind of mask plate there, which is technically not 100% sure accurate, but they said something about like this being based off of concept art or something, where you can kind of see the eyes back there, which is kind of neat. So, yeah. And here it is in the NFT black and gold color scheme, which really works for this. This looks really, really nice in this combination. I'm going to go ahead and take the staff out of his hands, which usually always just wants to kind of fall out, so I'm surprised it didn't right there. But yeah, I mean, I love how this looks with the black and gold. I mean, the gold and the chrome, it really does like line up very nicely. And kind of taking a look at the legs, I'm trying to find like a good spot to pick them up at. But it does just blend in very, very nicely in this combination. I really do quite enjoy how that looks, even if I still despise the NFT Megazord. Now, looking at the instructions, it like definitely doesn't have a spot for the end of the tail to go, but I'm just gonna kind of leave it in there as sort of like a handle, but also just a sort of storage. But I know it's technically wrong, so whatever, we'll take that off and just fold up the little butt plug that he's got going on there. But you know, it's interesting kind of how they've engineered that. But yeah, this looks good. This works pretty nicely. So now it's pretty much time to make the Mega Dragonzord combination. So we will go ahead and bring back in the regular colors app Megazord, which is just kind of chilling over here on the ground. And then we'll move that one out of the way. We're going to do both combinations, of course. So let's go ahead and kind of start disassembling this here, which, by the way, once again, taking the tail pieces off of these is just so terrifying to do. But let's see. So, you know, we're working with not a lot of space here. I'm probably inevitably going to bump into the camera at some point. I'm going to just grab him off of camera here. Alright, so I finally got him disconnected from the black and gold pieces, which was a little tricky to do. But let's see, so to combine this into the Mega Dragonzord formation, one thing I know that they want you to do, which I've already done, is that on the Megazord, the legs can kind of fold in and out like that. So you want to fold them out as far as it can go. It's probably going to make these pop off, which surprisingly never happened in my initial review of Megazord. It is, I guess, you know, technically a problem that's happened with this a lot for people. But it only ever finally happened for me now when I'm trying to make this combination. So this hopefully should be enough space. Maybe, ooh, I just like rammed Dragonzord into my lights. There's like no space here to deal with all this. So I know essentially we have to kind of like, you know, open this up. It's not super complex, I don't think. But let's open that back up how we had before, you know, before we combined everything. And then I know he's got to be split like that. And we're pretty much just gonna just plop this down, but I'm not exactly sure 100% how it's supposed to work, but I know that these kind of are gonna come down like that. And we're pretty much just gonna take this thing and plop it on there. I know that this is gonna be folded up for this. That's what that's supposed to do. But I'm not 100% certain of how this is supposed to work perfectly. So let's go ahead and grab the instructions yet again. But yeah, pretty much just take the tail off, fold up the little butt plug, move the clips, open them up like that. I don't know what is that? What is that supposed to mean? I don't know what that is right there. Right there in the foot? Is there like a joint or clip or something that folds in? Oh wait, is it these? I think it's talking about these. Yeah. You fold those in, okay. So there's that, and then from there, you're going to rotate that 90 degrees. So it looks like that rotating 90 degrees thing I had already done, so I didn't need to do anything else there. I'm trying to figure out when the best time to put these little doors is going to be, and I'm thinking maybe now. So I think they kind of just, I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to clip them in there, but something. Like I know this one goes in. Okay, that wasn't too difficult. And then you have like a little bit of a latch to be able to take the door off. And then this one, the little tab is gonna clip in there. Okay, so that's not too bad. And nope, I was gonna say they stay in really well, and then it fell out instantaneously. So no, that's a lie. Let me grab it again. I just elbowed the boxes in the background, by the way. That kind of hurt. So, okay, ooh, that's not supposed to happen. Ah, what the hell? Alright, and then from here, I know that this little thing's going to kind of clip around the tail or something like that. Now, I know on Megazord itself, I have to do a little bit more prep, and that is fold these down. So, like that, which is going to basically completely get rid of his elbow articulation for the most part, I think. So let's just kind of clean that up a little bit. You move this up, and I don't think you move that up now. I've never done this before. Okay, so we're currently suffering for two different problems. So I'm trying to figure out what is happening here. So first of all, this one is staying in perfectly fine. This one, no. So this one is just not wanting to clip in. Every time I try to clip it in, it either just kind of doesn't sit there for a long period of time, or it just falls instantaneously out. So that's fun. Second of all, I got this to finally attach over here. Now, I realized, looking at the instructions, that just like with the spear mode, they want you to just use the 3 pieces in the tip of the tail to connect into the drill there. So I'm trying to figure out, in both of these combinations, where does his butt go? Like, I have no idea. And I'm like, let me show you again. Like, tell me what I'm doing wrong here. Because like right there, it tells you to detach the entire tail, and then fold up the little plug, and then fold those pieces in, fold down the little flap there, open them up, take out the shield, or take out the chest, fold in those little clips, rotate those 90 degrees, then you bring Megazord in, you fold the Mastodon tusks down, or the little shoulder pads, you fold those out, you plop it on top, and then you fold out those leg pieces like I showed you, put the little doors in, and then right there, you clip in just 3 pieces on the tip of the tail, and the shield, and then you're done. But it's like, where does this go? So I don't know what you're supposed to do with this. I do not like that it's just hanging out on its own. So that's definitely interesting. So I think we have it about as well as I'm going to be able to get it for this mode. Now I know that this little door needs to be folded up because that's going to get in the way of the tail, and also you got to fold in the nose, don't you? Also, yeah, he's going to lose his head articulation when I do this, right? So I cannot even imagine how this is going to actually work. I'm sure this is going to be, oh, this is going to be terrible. Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm just going to do it off camera. This is not going to work. Okay, so after much fiddling with this, I think that I got it. This was not a pleasant thing to do at all. Just, you know what, that's fine. Just stay. Just please stay. I beg of you. Let's kind of clap these back down. Okay, so there is the Mega Dragonzord, sorta, pretty much, as best as you're gonna get it in this video. So this is tricky. I do not like this. I've never really loved this combination, but like, this was a pain. This was a royal pain. So, because the thing is that, so obviously this is going to pretty much limit most of its articulation, because you have to have the tail, the Tyrannosaurus tail, connected together, so you can no longer clip into the back, so you can no longer have that waist articulation with this. You pretty much have completely removed its elbow articulation because of the fact that you folded the mastodon shoulder pads down, which, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't expect this to necessarily be able to move like crazy. But one thing that's really annoying is that because the fact that the Megazord head is on a ball joint, it makes it very difficult to line everything up at the top. And then you're supposed to, and like once you, I mean, I should not do this, but you can grip it by those clips once it's in there. It just takes forever to actually get that grip to actually like click in. And kind of sort of trying to zoom in on it there. It does rest in, it does clip in between the sides of the Megazord head. And then on the back, which is where a lot of nonsense is occurring, you do have the little horns peeking through here, which you can kind of use as a guide to kind of try to, you know, angle the head correctly and keep it all nice and straight. And then there is this little clip on the Dragonzord that does clip in to, I do believe that's clipping to the Mastodon, this tiny little clip right there, which actually does go in pretty easily, and then you kind of just rest the tail up against it. But I just ran into a lot of things where things were trying to unpeg or, you know, fly away or something crazy, and it's just, he's not like overly top heavy, because like the Bandai Legacy one had a problem where like this mode needed some extra bracers because it was just because Dragonzord had die cast metal on it, especially like up here and everything, and on over here, which this does not have. So it's significantly lighter, so that does make the combination kind of work out a little bit better in that regard. But it's just the fact that it's very tiny little clips there. It's really difficult to get this to actually work. These clips always confused me for a while because I feel like they were supposed to clip into the Mastodon. They're not. They're supposed to just kind of rest there. If you see what I'm talking about right there. I believe that that's actually just a clip for combining this thing, you know, in another way. So, but like, yeah, kind of a mess. You can probably already picture what this is going to look like in the black and gold one, but I'm going to do it anyway. So in the end, I am going to just kind of phone it in on this one. It's not fully attached by any means, but you get the idea. You know, it's Dragonzord balancing on top of this thing of the NFT one. I really don't want to break either one of these toys, and so especially the NFT one, so we're just going to, there it is. You can imagine it. It looks exactly what you'd think it would. So that is going to do it for the Mega Dragonzord combination with the NFT version. But yeah, I think that's going to also kind of just wrap it up with Dragonzord in general here. I'll kind of just talk about him as I transform him back. So yeah, it's something. So I don't dislike this toy by any means. However, it's just, oh, it's tricky. It's just a tricky thing to mess with. Everything feels like it's trying to break. See, I can't even get the tail off now. Like, come on. Oh my god. So that just went flying across the room. So let me grab that. But like, yeah, this is just, it's kind of a mess. Kind of a mess. I think that's the same kind of joint right there as they used on Snizzard's tail, by the way. I just kind of noticed that while I was, see, what the hell? How did it, oh, see, now it's sunk all the way in there. There we go. That's not gonna be, that's not easy. Don't do that. Okay, so there's his tail. But, you know, for being the first Dragonzord to ever, you know, be a part of my collection, I will, you know, definitely treasure it in terms of that. Like I said earlier in this video, probably at some point, I've always wanted a Dragonzord for my collection. So to finally have one, I think is really, really cool. I just wish that it was maybe engineered a little bit better, or not as brittle feeling. But if you are getting it for kind of just display purposes, and maybe not necessarily doing the combinations, I mean, I wouldn't do them all the time, but I wouldn't really ever say you should do that for any version of the Dragonzord, Legacy, Original, whatever it may be. That just ran into the camera, didn't it? How difficult is it going to be to get your chest back in? Did everything clip back in, actually? It kind of sounds like it did. Okay, that wasn't too difficult. Well, look at you behaving at the end of the video. So, also, I'm surprised that the doors stayed on here as long as they did, with how much they wanted to keep flying off. Well, not this one, the other one. The other one did exactly what it's supposed to do. It's kind of reaching there. But, like, little things, it's just like it's really difficult to grab the hands once you have them stored in here. Oh my gosh. Like, because, like, I don't want to, like, damage them, but, you know, it's hard to find a little grip to get the hands out. One thing I do think I forgot to mention earlier, which if I ever get this little handout to pose him at the end of this video, I would love to demonstrate. But I do believe that they made the top of his head relatively, like, not thin, but smooth. Like, is that a clip? Are you clipping in? Or are you just kind of resting there? What are you doing? But, oh, and there goes his jaw not working again. So, I do believe that they made the top of his, like, forehead a little bit, like, kind of a flat surface, so you can have a Green Ranger, one of the tiny ones that he's included with, kind of stand on top. So I'll kind of angle this up a little bit better. So let's grab, like, the one of him playing the Dragon Dagger. So it's like a little bit, if I kind of fold this, oh, no, don't. You're supposed to kind of be up like that. It's kind of a flatter surface, so you can kind of have a Tommy, like, let's try it again. I kind of have a Tommy, like, standing on top, like he would kind of be, you know, commanding Dragons or something like that. I don't know if that's necessarily an advertised feature, but in the end, I like this thing. I do like it quite a bit. I think it's definitely, it works the best in this mode. I think Battle Mode, Warrior Mode, whatever you call it, is not too terrible. Mega Dragonzord's not great. I'm just going to say that. But that's kind of a fault of both of these toys. Because, like I said, when I was talking about that mode in particular, Megazord makes this a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Dragonzord makes this a lot more difficult than... Oh, now they're both on the floor. So, that's it. We're wrapping this up. So, at the end of the day, I do like this. I am happy to finally have a Dragonzord in my collection. It's not perfect, though. I don't think he's too terribly priced. He definitely could probably be closer to, like, 100. I feel like if Megazord was more of his price and he was, like, closer to 100, it'd probably be a little bit better than, like, 132 for this and 165 for Megazord. But if you don't have any versions of these toys, they are pretty good adult collector versions of them, I'd say. They just feel cheap. They kind of are cheap, and I'm afraid of doing literally anything with them in fear that they're going to break. And now that I've kept both the Megazords out of their boxes for a couple of days to be able to do all the videos with them and with him. But now that I have all three, and I don't really need to get them out for any particular reason, they're all going back in the boxes. And eventually I like to put them on shelves. But for now, I just want them back in their boxes so they don't just, like, self-destruct. That's kind of, that's what I want. Because I'm just terrified of these breaking any capacity. And I shouldn't be that afraid of that happening with kind of an adult collector line. I think Hasbro has a lot to learn with the Zord Ascension Project. I really, really hope that Astro Megazord turns out as good as it looks. This is better than Megazord, but it has its shortcomings. So that's all I really got with this guy. Of course, until next time, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on him and down in the comments below. Do you have Zap Dragonzord? Do you have an original one or a legacy one? What do you think of this if you do own it? And pretty much anything else you want to talk about with this down in the comments below, I would like to read it. I'm also going to leave a Pulse link in the description below because that's where I got him, where she is still currently in stock for right now as far as I know. And that's going to do it. So until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LiveRangerKey or LightningFigPR, and I'll see you all later.